The chair at the far end of the Galactic Summit table was always empty. Verlaine, of the Threxan Union, had watched it stay that way for 70 years. Flags of 100 empires floated above the circular chamber, holograms slowly turning in the air. Yet the flag of Earth was only a faint grey marker in the system map. Unresponsive. Non-participant, the status tag said. It annoyed him more than he liked to admit. Still, no humans. Ambassador? A thin blue-skinned delegate from the Khazari League asked with a tired smile. Velen's frills twitched. Still nothing. Not even a protest message. Around the chamber, voices rose about border disputes, trade rights, pirate raids. No one talked about Earth. No one worried. Their planet was quiet, their system closed, their signals weak and rare. Most empires had decided humans were afraid, primitive, or simply not worth the effort. Only Velen kept a private file called Terran Anomalies. He opened it now, flicking one claw through the glowing list. Strange energy bursts near Sol. Old battlefield wreckage nobody claimed. A single intercepted human transmission from decades ago. We'll be ready next time. Ready for what? The session ended. Delegates drifted out on floating platforms, still arguing. Velen stayed behind, looking at the empty chair. Thinking of that message, he whispered to himself, "What are you doing out there, humans?" As if in answer, the station lights flickered. The floor panels vibrated very slightly, like a distant thunder rolling through metal bones. Velen looked up. Outside the vast viewport, the usual peaceful stretch of deep space was changing. Stars were bending. Light itself seemed to twist. A dark patch grew in the void beyond the summit station. Circular and cold, swallowing starlight at its edges. No ship announced arrival. No transponder pinged. Space itself opened. Something was coming through. Alarms broke the calm with a sharp, rising wail. Red lines flashed across the walls. Velen's translator implant buzzed with system warnings. Unregistered spatial distortion detected. The station AI announced, voice tight, "All ambassadors, return to secure zones." Delegates scrambled. Some floated backward on their platforms. Others stood frozen, staring out at the forming wound in space. The dark circle had grown wider, its inner surface almost liquid. Rippling with distant lightning from its center, silhouettes emerged. At first they looked like dust motes, tiny specks against the void, but they swelled quickly, shapes turning sharp and angular, rows and rows of them. Velen's heart began to hammer in his chest. Warships, someone breathed. A fleet, identified, shouted the Khazari delegate. Who dares open a gate this close to the summit? The station AI tried. Symbols flashed, cross-checking 1,000 naval registries. Each result came back the same. No match. Match.V. Lane leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. The ships were black and grey, wrapped in harsh lines and glowing blue engines. They moved with a smooth, frightening precision, like a school of predators that had trained together for centuries. How many? Velnay asked quietly. 2,000 signatures, the AI replied, all of identical origin. Configuration, unknown. The dark gate behind the ships began to shrink. As it closed, the nearest vessels adjusted formation, sliding into a vast three-layer wall around the summit station. Not one fired a weapon, but every gun was ready, every barrel glowing with contained power. A channel opened. It wasn't a polite diplomatic request. It was a simple statement pushed onto every screen, every implant, every frequency. A human face appeared, female, dark hair pulled back, eyes sharp and tired. "This is Admiral Ria Navarro of the Terran Defense Armada," she said. "To all assembled powers, we are here because you refuse to listen." Silence spread through the summit like a new atmosphere. Even the air seemed heavier. Velen swallowed, then answered on the open channel. "Admiral Navarro, this is Ambassador Velen of the Threxan Union, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Summit. Your fleet is unregistered, and your arrival is extremely aggressive. State your purpose." Navarro's gaze swept across the delegates' faces displayed around her. 50 years ago, Earth sent you a warning," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was steel under it. "You dismissed it. You called it local panic and primitive misunderstanding. Your exact words? A murmur moved through the chamber. All delegates glanced at each other, trying to remember, failing. Velno opened his personal file with a twitch of his claws. The old human transmission appeared again. Grainy audio, desperate tone. Object entering Kuiper region. Eats energy. Changing course. If anyone hears this, the record cut off there. The Void Eater, Navarro continued. That's what we named it. A weapon, a creature, we still don't know. It erased 3 of our outer colonies before we stopped it. We asked for help. You ignored us. The Khazari delegate lifted a trembling hand. The council at that time believed it was exaggerated. Navarro didn't smile. Of course you did. Earth was quiet. Weak, you thought. Not important enough to bother with. She leaned closer. So we learned to fight alone. Behind her, through the viewfeed, Veln could see the Terran ships holding perfect formation. 2,000 vessels, each different in detail but united by the same hard design language. No flashy banners. No bright colors. Just function, efficiency, purpose. In the dark, we rebuilt, Navarro said. We studied what tried to eat us. We learned how the void can be cut open and shaped. We forged an armada when no one could see. Veln's frills lowered slowly. You did all this? In secret? Yes, Navarro said. Because one day, the thing that came for us will come for you. And today, she added, voice dropping, you're about to get your first real look at it. The station lights dimmed again, not from power loss, but from something outside. The stars around the Terran fleet seemed to flicker, as if a curtain had passed over them. Navarro's eyes shifted to a different feed. Brace your station. It likes to test new voices. Veln's translator didn't know what to do with that sentence. Test voices. On the main viewport, space rippled a second time, far beyond the human ships. No gate opened. No swirl of color. Instead, the universe simply went wrong. A patch of black appeared, darker than any normal void, eating stray light around it. Weapons across the Terran Armada powered up. Thousands of barrels glowed white-blue. It's smaller than last time, Navarro murmured, almost to herself. Good. We'll see if the new pattern holds. Veln forced his voice to stay steady. What is it? The answer did not come from Navarro. It came from the darkness itself. A sound pressed against every mind in the chamber. No words. More like a feeling sharpened into noise. Hunger, curiosity, amusement. The translation systems tried to build phrases around it, and failed. Spitting out broken fragments. You again. Little fire taste. Change many. Some delegates screamed and tore their implants out. Others clutched their heads. Veln felt his thoughts slide, then snap back as his emergency filters kicked in. Navarro's voice cut through the chaos. Focus on me, she said. We've trained for this. You haven't. Listen. Her ships changed formation. Lines of cruisers broke apart and reformed into a giant three-dimensional lattice around the black patch. Smaller vessels darted between them, leaving threads of bright energy in their wake. Like a glowing net, Admiral Veln said, his throat dry. What are you doing? Something you chose not to learn, she replied. How to say no to the dark. She raised a hand. Terran Defense Armada, Operation Lantern. Phase 1, Containment. Fire, on my mark. The first volley lit up the darkness like a storm of artificial suns. Beams of tight white light stabbed into the black patch from all sides. Not simple weapons, Fireveln could see the modulation, the shifting frequencies, the careful rhythm. It was like the ships were playing a harsh kind of music directly into the wound in space. The thing reacted, where the beams hit. Patches of the dark surface hissed and folded back, revealing a churning, colorless depth that made Velen's body temperature drop. The mental pressure flared again. Stop, stop, little sparks. I will unmake you. Navarro's jaw clenched. Increase carrier wave. Don't let it reach resonance. A voice behind her, off-screen answered, I, Admiral. Adjusting pattern. On the Galactic Summit channel, the High Speaker of the Council finally found her courage. Admiral Navarro, this creature is engaging near a neutral station. You are putting us at risk. No, Navarro said. We're keeping you alive. One section of the void swelled outward, a finger of pure nothing pushing against the lattice of human ships. 3 vessels vanished when it touched them, not destroyed, not exploded. Just gone, Verlaine gasped. They didn't even have time to scream. Oh, they screamed, Navarro said softly. We made sure no sound reached you. For a heartbeat, Veln saw something in her eyes. Pain, old and deep. These were not disposable ships to her. Every loss cut. Phase 2, Navarro commanded, ignite the grid. The glowing threads left by the smaller ships suddenly flared brighter. Connections formed between them, turning the entire formation into a cage of light. The beams shifted from white to a hard, burning blue. The black shape shuddered. The mental voice twisted into rage. You changed. You are wrong now, Navarro almost smiled. Yes, she said. Humans learn. The creature began to shrink, forced inward by the tightening grid. For the first time, Veln realized they might actually win. Admiral, he said quietly, why show us this? You could have fought alone again. Because last time, she answered, watching the dying void. No one believed we were worth listening to. The dark thing collapsed with one final, silent scream that shivered through bulkheads and bones. Then it was gone, no wreckage, no flash. Just clean, simple emptiness where horror had been. The Terran Armada held position for a long minute. Guns still hot, engines steady, systems checked, rechecked, and only after that did the formation relax. Some ships drifted closer together, showing scars along their hulls where reality itself had tried to erase them. On the station, the Galactic Summit sat stunned. No one argued, no one shouted about trade or borders. They just stared at the fleet that had come out of nowhere to fight a nightmare they didn't even know existed. Navarro's image filled the central display again. She looked more tired now. Some of the harshness had left her expression, replaced by something else. Disappointment, maybe, or simple resignation. The creature will return, she said. Maybe in a century. Maybe in a decade. Maybe tomorrow. It hunts gravity wells. Life. Heat. You were always going to meet it. She paused. We met it first. Veln stepped forward. His legs felt unsteady, but he made them move. Admiral Navarro, he said. On behalf of the Galactic Summit, I offer formal thanks, and he swallowed his pride. An apology. We did not listen. We thought you were small. Navarro's gaze softened. Just a little. You had bigger toys, she said. We had bigger problems. What do you want now? The high speaker asked. There was fear in her tone, but also something new. Respect. Navarro looked at the empty human chair in the chamber. For years it had been a symbol of absence. Now, it felt like a doorway. We want a seat, she said simply. Not as clients. Not as subjects. As equals who stood alone in the dark and survived. Veln nodded slowly. Then take it, he said, and tell us how you built that armada. The faintest hint of a smile touched Navarro's mouth. We will, she said. But understand this first. Humans don't build fleets only to show strength. Then why? Veln asked. She looked out at her 2,000 ships, arrayed like a shield around the fragile station and all its nervous empires. To make sure, she said, that when the dark comes, no one else has to face it alone.